The date is the 24th,
Today's the 28th.
8th. Oh, I lost a week. Good evening. Welcome to the Winnicott School Board budget meeting. And at this time, we'll ask for a roll call, excuse me.
We got to, Henry, I think you need to read that statement first.
Okay, we can do that. As chair of the Winnicott School Board, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to the executive order 2020-4, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please meet that there's no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneous to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to this meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video and other electronic means. We are utilizing Zoom for this electronic meeting. All members of the Winnicott School Board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during the meeting through this platform. The public has access contemporaneously to listen and, if necessary, participate in the meeting through dialing the following phone number: 646-876-9923. Webinar ID number is 889-3196-6520. Or by clicking on the following website. It's listed in the agenda: zoom.us it's Zoom US 02web.zoom.us/
Henry, that's 889-319-6650.
Correct. Is that what I read or not?
I just filled that in for you.
Well, okay, thank you. And now, providing public notice of this necessary information will be accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing this meeting, including how to access the meeting through Zoom or telephonically. Instructions also have been provided on the website of SAU 21 office at www.sau21.org. Also, providing a mechanism for public to alert the public body during the meeting if there's a problem with access. If anyone has a problem, please call 603-926-8992 extension 103 or emailing at revans@sau21.org. Then adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note, all votes are taken during the meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Okay, let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance.
Tony Delano.
Here. Family in and out.
Mike Rabideau.
Here alone.
Leslie LaFond. Leslie, you're muted.
Here alone. So then you didn't hear me swear. Yay.
Henry Marsh.
Here alone.
And Heidi Terracina.
Here alone.
I have the roll call taken.
Thank you. And proceeding on with the continuation of the budget review, and Matthew.
Thank you, Henry. I unfortunately am not alone, so my apologies if there's any background noise. We made some good progress at the last budget work session. There have been, however, a couple changes that I just want to review that slightly affect the budget. So we did have an adjustment in tuition, special education tuition. Actually, let me share my screen. You'll notice that's $1,428,305. That's a reduction from the last time we reviewed this account by $23,728. Additionally, on page 99, this account has been reduced by $4,095. And then we have an increase in transportation special needs, which we have not reviewed yet, which is an increase of about $28,000. And then our long-term disability insurance, our FICA and retirement, which we have not reviewed yet, have decreased by approximately $1,100. So all told, the budget has been reduced by $928 from the last meeting. So it's a total of $28,770,668, which is it remains a 0.66% increase over last year. So we left off at SAU services. And let me just get to that. This is page 141. We've budgeted $885,590. This reflects the SAU budget. And this is the allocation of for Winnicott based on enrollment as well as property valuation. As you recall, the SAU budget was an increase of 1.2% over last year, largely due to retirement, the retirement increase. Page 143, we're moving into administration salaries. This reflects the cost of living adjustment of 0.8%, and that's $538,173. Page 144 is our administrative assistants at $208,089, which again represents a 0.8% cost of living adjustment and step. Page 145 is workshops and seminars. So this is for our administrators and the administrative team to attend any professional development workshops or seminars, and that's level funded at $1,500. Page 146, we have $1 in the repair and maintenance equipment position to keep it open. Page 147, we have budgeted $58,360 in the rental lease equipment account. Now, if you recall, when we started when I discussed the budget drivers, I had mentioned our Copier Agreement. So we consolidated our copiers with Canon. And overall, we're seeing savings. However, they were all spread out amongst different accounts. So now they're consolidated within this one account. And that's the reason why there's an increase. But in reality, we are seeing a savings for our copiers.
Matt, I'm sorry, it's Tony. Do you know what's the order of magnitude? How much is actually being saved overall?
The savings is about $1,000. It's not significant because we had many copiers that were very old, so we didn't have a very high lease. I mean, we were out of lease on many of them, but they were end of life. So we were replacing those with brand new copiers, but it still came in under by about $1,000, which is great. So it's a little different than because we had so many old copiers, we didn't save as much as some of our other districts saw savings of 30%. But over time, this is significant savings. So
we were paying.
So we were paying about just about $60,000 if we had maintained our old agreement.
But if they were new copiers, they would have been more expensive, is what you were saying. So there would have been more savings.
This reflects all new copiers. What
Yeah,
I'm saying is our under our old agreements, it was a mixture of old and new, and there are more old ones so even though we're only saving, just over like a little, probably about 1,000 to 1,500, we're really saving significantly more because many of those copiers were out of lease, so we weren't making any payment.
Yep.
We were just paying
and
for
we have better equipment now.
So right. Um, so it's really it's a savings, but it doesn't really show the true savings because the costs of repairing those machines and eventually replacing them would have exceeded what this is just reflected in 1 year. So whereas we would have seen it over a number of years as we started to replace them. So. All right, page 148. We're budgeting $33,948 for telephone. So this is our contract with statewide. We were looking at upgrading some of our IP phones. However, because we still have a mixture of analog and VoIP within our system, we had to, a number of years ago, we had to transition over to VoIP to abide by the E911 compliance. However, we haven't transitioned all of those analog phones to voice over IP. However, we have deferred that another year. That's going to cost about $8,000 just as a financial consideration, a budget consideration to maintain a low budget this year. Page 149, we're budgeting $10,000 for postage. This is a $2,000 reduction. This is postage for all of our school mailings. And that's based more on expenditure history. You'll see, if you look on the Excel spreadsheet, it's more in line with actual costs.
Is that, Matt, just a question, does that take into like the savings from having the Chromebooks and not having to mail out like the budgets and all of that?
Not really, because those are incurred at the SAU level.
Okay,
So we reflected those savings in the SAU budget,
okay.
and the postage is certainly declined
Mhm.
for that. But we are overall, I mean, as we move more online, there's less mailing across the board.
Okay,
So,
thanks.
you're welcome. Page 150, we've budgeted $2,000 for travel reimbursement. This is a reduction of $3,000. This is for our administrative team. We're anticipating, even though we are budgeting for an in-person environment, we do anticipate that some of our, conferences and workshops will likely be virtual. So we won't be traveling as much. Page 151, we're budgeting $15,000 for supplies. This is a $1,000 decrease based on actual expenditure history. Page 152, we've budgeted $24,580 for dues and fees. So these are the various professional associations for our administrative team. Page 153, we budgeted $19,000. These are for our graduation expenditures. So this is essentially to hold graduation. So that includes the police detail, diplomas, chair rentals, etc. That's level funded. That brings us into facilities. 155 is the salary for the facilities director with the 0.8% cost of living. 156 is our administrative assistant. 53,223 with the 0.8 cost of living adjustment. Page 157, we're budgeting $803,044. This is the 0.8% cost of living adjustment with our existing staff. We've mentioned in years past the needs for some seasonal grounds. Again, we're just mentioning it. We're not proposing to add an additional groundskeeper as well as a maintenance mechanic. But that's something just to keep in mind for maybe future budget considerations. Page 151, we have $1 for substitutes. We're not budgeting for any subs because we have been and we plan to utilize our existing workforce to substitute in the event of absence. Page 160, we're budgeting $4,000 for overtime. That's a reduction of $4,000. And much of that is due to snow removal or for covering for when people are out. So we don't budget for substitutes, but occasionally we'll have staff go into overtime. Page 161, we're budgeting $21,000 for consultants. So next year we need to bring a few consultants on for a number of projects for the following year. So for 2022, 23, according to our capital improvement plan, we have a lighting upgrades project in the auditorium scheduled, as well as a roofing project and HVAC on the tech engineering building. So we'll get to warrant articles after the operating budget, but I'll just note that we had a roofing and HVAC project scheduled for this year in CIP, and we were pushing the roofing project back 1 year due to financial consideration. So we will only be proposing an HVAC, our annual HVAC replacement cycle as a single warrant article this year. Page 162, we've level funded water at $25,000. Page 163, we've level funded our trash removal at $34,385. Page 164, we've budgeted $6,500 for pest control. So this is a contracted service. We did need to increase our bee control by $500. That's the reason for the increase. Page 165, we budgeted $8,061 for fire extinguishers. So this is for the fire extinguisher inspections as well as replacements. Page 166, we budgeted $154,558 for repair and maintenance service. And you'll see we have a significant list of our requirements as far as inspections, our maintenance, and then miscellaneous repairs and maintenance, such as our HVAC, our electrical, windows, plumbing, etc. All the various maintenance that's necessary in a 400,000 square foot building between the four buildings. I will note, so you'll see there's an increase from last year because many of these are recurring costs, with the exception of the, some of the general repairs. But if you look at the gas boiler and automation service agreement, it shows a pretty significant increase. That's the reason for the differential, and that was mistakenly omitted from last year's budget. That's been a contract that we've had. But we've paid out, but it was not included in last year's budget.
You mean 23,000 was not included? Is that what we're saying?
Correct.
Wow.
Well, like just under 23. So
Okay.
that differential 21,000.
Matt, was the work still done last year? Or
We've had the contract, it just wasn't included in the budget. So it's with Siemens for our HVAC and our controls. And so they do all of our, so that includes, that's preventative maintenance. That includes labor, it includes parts. So it's a pretty important contract that we have and that we've always had. It just, for whatever reason, it wasn't included in last year's budget.
where does it come out of then when it's not included?
It was expended out of this budget, out of this account. It just wasn't itemized on this. I think it accidentally got deleted. So it was a mistake. So, I mean, if you look at 1920, we spent $169,000 out of this account. So that included the $20,000 for the preventative maintenance. And then it also included, so you'll see, general repairs. That's a highly variable account based on what breaks throughout the year. So last year, we had $169,000 total in, for all of these inspections. I mean, this is a big account that encompasses all of our inspections, all of our testing, our certifications. You see the list, and then whatever breaks, it needs to be repaired is included in this account. So you're gonna see.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go on.
I probably asked this question before, but with the lack of use of the building, are there any systems that, less maintenance is required because it's not wearing out as fast? Looking for a silver lining.
Yeah. Well, I believe that this year this account will probably be under expended. To your point.
Yeah.
So this year I expect to see a savings because you're right. There's going to be less wear and tear, so there'll be less repairs necessary. Hopefully, you never know. I mean,
Yeah.
But of course, for this budget, we're looking at next year with our full
Right.
without everyone in the building. So
Right.
So, but yes, it's something that towards the end of the year, it'll be interesting to look at this account and see if it's where it came in at. So, but.
Okay.
All right, page 169 is our auditorium repair and maintenance account. So this reflects our auditorium upgrade plan. And this year it's scheduled for $8,700. You'll see this is the improvement plan here. So we'll be repairing and replacing broken lighting. It's our annual rigging and dimmer rack inspection, our annual carpet cleaning, and repairs from the inspection. So this is if you look across the board or through the next few years, this is a year that's light in the upgrade plan.
Matt?
Yes.
Speaking of the auditorium, and I know we've talked about this before, and please just refresh my memory. We had talked about upgrading the sound system, and I think that got put off for a year. Is that still on the game plan, or what's happening with that?
Yeah, so in March, so this past March of 2020, we had a warrant article for upgrading the sound system in the auditorium. I believe it was $85,000. That did pass, and we have that RFP out, and we expect to complete that project at some point during this current school year.
Okay, thanks.
It wasn't able. So originally we were thinking summertime frame, but we weren't able to get it done with contractors, and through the pandemic, getting the RFP out and everything, it wasn't able to get done in the summer. So it will be happening though this year. All right, page 171 is our property and liability insurance. That's $65,730. Page 172 is our supplies account, level funded at $85,000. Page 173 is our electricity account, which is about a $20,000 decrease to $214,991. We did negotiate an SAU-wide electricity contract, so that reflects this savings here. Page 174, we're budgeting $129,830 for heating fuels. This is level funded. Page 175 is our renovations account, which shows a decrease of $40,000, which we're budgeting $10,000. Again, due to the economic climate, we have reduced this account. So our only proposed projects is refinishing the gym floor, as well as some concrete repairs on the exterior of the C wing. We have deferred LED lighting by 1 year. That's $50,000, and that'll be the last of the LED lighting. And then we should be completed with the entire campus with LED lighting. We've already invested $150,000 in LED lighting, and we're also deferring the tech ed buildings automation and for another year, as well as some of our well, not as well. We have some Homeland Security upgrades. As part of our Homeland Security audit, they recommended that we install some bollards that prevents people from driving into certain areas. So we are suggesting that we utilize the Building Maintenance Expendable Trust for those bollards, as well as a new roof on the in back. There's a storage like garage. So between those two items, that's about $25,000 that we'd like to use from the Building Expendable Trust that will bring forth to the board likely later this year.
Matt, I have a question. So the top ones, auditorium railing, treads, those things, those are the ones that we're putting off. Is that what you're saying?
No, so these are just an idea of projects that we've already done. So
We've already done those.
So those are some things we did this year.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
All right, no, good. Thank you.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be that word completed. Got it. Yeah, all right. Been a long day. Sorry.
All right, page 176, we've level funded our furniture budget at $28,500. So this is our normal replacement cycle for our classroom furniture. Page 177, we've budgeted $2,700 for equipment. This is about a $7,000 decrease from last year. You'll see we're proposing to purchase 2 vacuums and then some miscellaneous equipment throughout the year that we know that we always end up needing to purchase. So that can include batteries, hoses, pad discs, etc. So I think so there was one item that we've deferred. That's an auto scrubber, which we're estimating about $11,000. That we have an auto scrubber that is reaching end of life. So however, we are going to push that back 1 year. Page 178, we've level funded training at $3,850. So this is necessary training for our facility staff, including the asbestos and lead training, our sports turf maintenance, NHAS, the ASBO certified school, as well as other workshops that our staff may want to take. That brings us into grounds. So we've budgeted $65,000 for snow removal. This is level funded from last year. As you know, this is a highly variable account that luckily the last few years, knock on wood, have been light snow years. However, you never know what the next year will bring. So we're level funding snow removal. Page 181, we're budgeting $5,000 for lawn care. So this is that account so we outsource some landscape work instead of hiring a groundskeeper. So that's level funded at $5,000. Page 182, we're budgeting $160,600 for grounds repair. This is a decrease of about $13,000. You'll see the big change. So the reason for the decrease is our irrigation system repairs. So as you recall, we just approved a big irrigation project for the fields. So that goes away However, that doesn't address the irrigation in the front of the building. So that's to upgrade and fix that irrigation system to $5,000. Page 184, we've level funded parking lot maintenance. So we have a seal coating plan. So every year we have a different section of the parking lot where we seal coat. So this year it's going to be Alumni Drive entrance up to the auditorium, with the parking lots in front of the school and next to the SAU building. Page 185, we've budgeted $1 for equipment. This is a reduction of $19,000. A future consideration is a tractor. Our existing tractor is a 2007, so it's starting to get seeing its age. All right, page 187, we've budgeted $16,800 for vehicle expenses. So this is for, registering the vehicles, maintenance, inspections, gas money, any repairs. And we just have a listing of our various vehicles, as well as the model year, the miles, or the hours, whichever is appropriate. Page 188, we have budgeted $14,934 for vehicle purchase lease. So this is a proposal to replace our 2008 John Deere Gator grounds maintenance vehicle with a new one. So the current one that we have is rotting out. So it's really in dire need of a replacement. So we use this for primarily for plowing snow. For the maintenance team uses it to, or the grounds crew for transporting, across the campus. So we're suggesting a 3-year lease to own at $8,000 per year.
So Matt, if I might ask, if there's $8,000 per year, how come we're budgeting for almost $15,000?
Because we have an existing lease for a van that we purchased last year for $6,934.
Got it.
So it's those two combined.
Right. Sorry, it's right there on the screen. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right, page 190, we have $1 for other non-school events to keep the account open. Page 191, we have $1 for security personnel to keep the account open. Moving into transportation, on page 193 is our contract with First Student to provide busing for our students at $632,905. Page 194 is our transportation for students with special needs at $405,575. So this represents our in-district contract with Durham School Services, as well as our out-of-district transportation for any out-of-district placements. So this is the account that I had referenced before in the previous version of the budget. This was about $28,000 less, but this, after updating these numbers, it's a $28,000 increase, so it's $405,575. Do you have a question, Heidi?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I heard someone. Page 195, we have budgeted $100,000 for athletics transportation. It's a $1,000 reduction. Page 196, we've budgeted field trip transportation at $12,500, which is level funded. Page 197, we've level funded other transportation at $47,730. So you'll see that this covers a wide variety of transportation, including our homeless McKinney-Vento transportation, Fresh Start, Project Search, music, any miscellaneous, transportation needs. If we have a math team meets, etc. All right, page 199 is our bond payment. This is the principal payment at $1,685,000. So I do want to point out that our last payment on this bond is in August of 2024. So in a couple budget cycles, we're going to have a very significant decrease by 1.685 and then $283,688 in interest. So
That's awesome.
So it's going to be almost $2 million reduction in budget coming up in the in a couple of years.
What project was that? That was the renovation years ago?
that was the big building project. So the school that you see today, and so it's the addition. I think that included the auditorium, the whole new section of the school.
You okay, Matt?
Sorry, yeah, I just sneezed.
No.
Page 202, we've budgeted $2,655,885 for health insurance. So this account is for our health insurance premiums for our employees. So the employer portion. This year we have a guaranteed maximum rate of 3.4%. So it's very modest. We've had years past where it's been 18, 19%. Now, I will note this is the guaranteed maximum. We will receive our actual rate in March. However, so not typically, sometimes they'll come in at that guaranteed maximum rate, but we've oftentimes seen that the actual rate comes in lower than the guaranteed maximum rate. So luckily, we have set up a health insurance expendable trust, which allows us to hedge on that differential. So what we are suggesting and what we're proposing is under budgeting this account by $150,000, because we know that there's a good possibility that 3.4% will be reduced. So last year we received a 1.9% GMR and it came down 4% and we had a negative health insurance rate. This allows us the ability to under budget the health insurance account, and then if we don't need to withdraw from the expendable trust and the budget can absorb it, we just maintain the expendable trust the way it is. If we need the money, then we withdraw it from the expendable trust. We felt this was an important way to lower costs for this budget cycle, considering the economic conditions, in our communities. Any questions in regard to this item? All right. Page 205, we budgeted $87,266 for dental insurance. This reflects a 0% rate increase. Page 206, we budgeted $14,978 for life insurance. Page 207, we've budgeted $47,369 for our long-term disability insurance. Page 208, we've budgeted $1,041,256 for our FICA payment. Page 209, we budgeted $2,593,537 for retirement. So as you recall, I'd mentioned this at our last work session. This is a $500,000 increase, $500,000 increase for retirement. the New Hampshire State Retirement System increased their rates by 3% or approximately 3% across the board. So this is a significant, this is the biggest driver for this budget, and really I would imagine for most school district budgets as well as town budgets, because everyone's going to be hit. This is going to be police, fire, all municipal employees. And unfortunately, this is an unfunded obligation, and that's decades in the making. So it appears that this is they've taken the opportunity this year to start to claw back some of those funds. Page 210, we've budgeted $7,953 for our unemployment insurance. Page 211, we've budgeted $90,150 for our workers' compensation insurance. Page 212, we budgeted $18,000 for our 403B contributions for our administrators. Page 213, we budgeted $2,000 for dues and fees. So this is the fees that we pay for our HSA, our health savings accounts, as well as our FSAs, our flexible spending accounts that we offer our employees through their health plans. Page 215 is a transfer to food service, which we're level funding at $1. So if you recall, we have essentially two budgets. We have the general fund budget, and that's what we just went. This is the end of the general fund. So that's essentially how the funds we utilize to operate our school. Then we have a food service budget, the food service fund, which is actually separate from the general fund, because they bring in revenue. They bring in revenue via private sale, so anyone paying out of pocket. And then they bring in revenue via the federal reimbursement or state reimbursement through the National School Lunches Program. So if the food service program has a deficit, the general fund has to pay for that deficit. So there's a transfer from the general fund to the food service fund. Now, in previous years, there was a significant deficit, which we formed a food service committee. We did a lot of work on reducing expenditures, driving revenue, and we've actually had a surplus the last couple of years, and we expect that to continue. Now, I will say this past year, due to COVID-19, we didn't have a surplus. We had a deficit, if you recall, when I reviewed the year-end summary, but that's because we were missing a third of the year. Yet we had expended all those costs. But we expect next year that we will be able to go back to a normal operation, and we will be able to fully fund our food service program. So this is the food service budget portion. So this is the director's salary at $61,714. Our salaries for our food service workers is $235,214. And again, the food service workers, staff all receive the 0.8% cost of living adjustment, as well as steps, same as all of our other non-union employees. We budgeted $600 for substitutes. We budgeted $1,000 for workshop seminars. So this is for our nutrition staff, professional development. Page 221, we've budgeted $11,599 for repair and maintenance of equipment. You'll see we have an increase for our the My School apps. That's for the that's the software for the food service program. Page 222, we budgeted $16,000 for supplies, non-food items. So this would be like paper goods, like the utensils, smallwares, cleaning supplies. Page 223, we've budgeted $230,000 for supplies, milk, and food. This is a $10,000 decrease. So this is essentially the food and drink that we purchase. Page 224, we've level funded USDA commodities at $28,000. So the USDA has a commodities program where it's essentially food staples, so like cheese, that we purchase through them, and then we get reimbursed this amount. So so there's a corresponding revenue to this cost. Page 225, we've left $1 in equipment. We don't anticipate any equipment needs for next year. Page 226, we've level funded other expenses at $2,000. So this is our uniform allowances. And then we do have a buyer's group that we participate in. And that brings us to the end of the operating budget. So the operating budget that we are proposing, like I mentioned earlier, is a total of $28,770,668. It represents a 0.66% increase. So that is the budget we are recommending that the board approve to move forward to the budget committee. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or otherwise I'd ask for a vote on the budget.
Hey, Matt, we would do this at this meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions to Matt on I think he did a great job, personally, as he always does. And during this time of COVID and other situations, to come in at this rate, I think is really commendable. And is there anyone else who would like to address the budget?
I would agree with Henry. Matt, I think everyone who worked on that did a great job, and it's really impressive to see how each department worked really hard at keeping their budget low for next year.
Well, yeah, it really is it's not me, it's the Winnicott team. So it's the various departments, it's the building administration who we worked with to bring this forth. So so Principal McGowan and his team did a nice job bringing this forward to us.
Mike, is there anything from your standpoint?
No, I think we're great. Matt, as always, has done a great job, and he's cut where he had to cut, and I think we're looking pretty good.
I'm just questioning because this is your first year on with this budget cycle, and Tony has worked on this budget for several years. And Tony, is there something that you would like to say?
Yeah, I mean, I echo what other folks have said. I think Matt, as usual, has done a stellar job putting this together. And yeah, I think this is about the fourth year in a row I've looked at these. I'm not seeing any, fat in the budget. And I think it's fantastic that we're keeping it to such a low increase. But I did have a question. Do you, Henry, or anybody have a sense for expectations of the public of where the budget needs to be, given where, as you mentioned, COVID, where we are with the economy and stuff? So I just, like I said, I think it's a good budget, but I don't have a sense for what folks, general public thinks where it would need to be.
Just to answer your question, not to become political, but the groups that I've talked to in relationship to Winnicott and giving the money back that we're giving it at 1.2 million this last year is again commendable with the people and the voters in the communities. And I just, I reiterate what I said before. Matt does a great job, and Tony, as the chair of the budget committee last year, again, great job to present a budget for us here at Winnicott. And thanks for everyone that's had a hand in this. Great job. Leslie, anything?
I don't know. I just think it sucks myself, but that's all right. You guys did a great job. Thank you to Bill McGowan and his crew. This is, you guys, you gave us a bare bones budget and I think it's awesome. And Matt, thanks for crunching numbers. And Tony, I think as far as what the public's looking for, I'm sure there's going to be a sentiment of some that think the budget should be less because they haven't been in school, not knowing how that maybe the budgets actually function. They may be saying, or thinking, well, the budget's going to be much lower because they're remote or they're this or that. So I think we may have that kind of thought process from some people, and we just have to be armed with the facts that we have in front of us that say, this is for next year. We're moving forward as if we're in school and all of that. So I think it's a great job. I really appreciate it.
And really, when you look at the totality of the operating budget, so it's a 0.66% increase, just the operating budget. But in total, we're actually looking at a reduction from last year because I have the HVAC upgrade warrant article that we'll address after the operating budget, but this is the only warrant article that we are proposing for this year. So typically, in a normal year, we have numerous warrant articles and as well as expendable trusts that we fund. And this year, we're only proposing our annual HVAC upgrade. So that brings the total tax burden actually down from last year. So it's not even an increase. So I think that might help. Again, there's always going to be people that will say that we should reduce it further, but I think this really shows how fiscally responsible that we're and how seriously we're taking this.
Absolutely. I totally agree. My question on one thing too is it's just probably a typo, but the 10-15-19, shouldn't that be 10-15-20 on the bottom of the warrant article?
You're absolutely correct.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll adjust that. But that's we're really far in advance. We had this budget done a while ago.
Exactly. We like
Matt, you're not going to ask for any other monies into the expendable trusts?
Nope. Just the operating budget and then just this, so that you'll vote on the operating budget and then vote on the HVAC warrant article, and that's it. Those are the only two.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the budget as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mike. And Leslie?
You're welcome.
May we have a roll call, Rhonda?
Heidi Terracina,
Yes.
Henry Marsh,
Yes.
Leslie LaFond,
Yes.
Mike Rabideau,
Yes?
and Tony Delano.
Yes.
I have that vote recorded.
Thank you. Is there anything else on this meeting?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the warrant article as the one for HVAC.
I have one question on this warrant article. Matt, this is just a standard yearly cleaning upgrade type of thing. This does not include the higher rate of air exchange and filters and what a lot of the schools are putting in now.
So this isn't anything different than normal. So we have a 20-year HVAC replacement cycle. So this isn't like cleaning. This is a replacement.
Okay.
And this is actually a replacement of the system on the Tech Ed building. And however, I say it doesn't include cleaning, but oftentimes we do clean the ducts associated with the unit that we're replacing. That's just part of the replacement.
Great, thank you.
So we have this warrant article every year, and depending on the system, which building or which section of the building, it varies between 200 and I think it goes up to maybe close to 400.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I will also note, this is an estimate. We're currently have an RFP out. So we'll bring this back to you again. So we're just asking you to bring this forward, but we will get an exact number for you at a future board meeting. So you'll have another opportunity to vote on it.
So do you want us to hold on this, Matt, or put it forward?
I'd like for you to move it forward. That way we can bring it, if we need to, we can bring it to the budget committee, but just know that this isn't the final number.
Okay, thank you. And we have Leslie and Mike on that.
The second on that, sure.
Thank you, Michael. Roll call, please.
Heidi Terracina,
Yes.
Henry Marsh,
Yes.
Leslie LaFond,
Yes.
Mike Rabideau,
Yes.
and Tony Delano.
Yes.
I have that vote recorded.
Thank you. Is there anything else, Leslie or anyone, for this meeting?
I think we're good. I think this could be the fastest we've gone through a budget.
Definitely the fastest since I've been here.
Yeah,
Matt's learned how to really sharpen his pencil.
I know. I was gonna
Thanks,
say.
Matt.
No,
And we had Tony, who has been on our budget committee for several years, that's now on our board and very influential on this budget. And thank everyone here for working on this budget.
Tony's our ringer.
Thank you.
I don't know. Thank you. Matt did all the work. I just asked a few.
Appreciate it, guys.
Very good.
Motion to adjourn?
Second, third,
All right, I have Leslie and Mike, and is everyone unanimous on that?
Yes.
All right,
thank you,
I have
everyone.
that vote recorded. Motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:59
Enjoy your
PM.
weekend.
Have a
Good night.
great
Thank you.
day.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.